The boxing challenge. I'm recording this before I actually asked the challenge video. I tried recording me making the entire thing like I have with other solution videos. Unfortunately, there's just a little bit going on, a little bit too much going on with the image and the animations that I want to do with this. It was going to take too long. So I have a little bit set up. I'll go over what I have set up so far. We'll add one more animation and then we'll get into the if statements. So what I've made so far, maybe I should just zoom out and take a look, is I have two little people character things and a counter in the middle. And if I run this, every time I click, the person on the left punches, does a jab, and then when I release my mouse, it returns back. So the way I did this was I made a enemy part. I made a variable for the enemy head. We'll see why I do that later. The body and the two legs, the enemy is never going to move, so I'm just going to leave those as just shapes. I don't need to store them in variables because they're going to be stationary the entire time. Similarly, we have our protagonist, which is the person that's punching things. And I made their heads not going to move, and their body, and their two legs. None of those are going to move, but I did make a variable for their arm and the glove because those are going to be moving back and forth and changing, so I had to make global variables in order to make those edits to those things. I also have a count label, and this I have a little note for myself here. It harkens back to the 2.3.1 and through 2.3.4 stuff. I don't think I have a video on it yet, but this is how you would make a label counter. Is you're going to make a variable, make a label, and instead of having the value of your label be in quotes, you can actually just make it a number, and then that way you can actually get a counter like I see here where, why isn't this running? Let me run it. Where every time I click, that label, the number goes up. So just a little, side note there in case you were having trouble with some of those early ones. All right, let's keep going. On the on mouse press, I jab, and then maybe I should make another comment here. Label value increases. So to jab, I move the X2 of the arm. It's a line, so the X2 I'm going to move forward, as well as the glove to the same spot. And you can see that over here. If I click, I guess I need to run it again. If I click, you can see the arm goes all the way over to 300. The glove does as well. And then when I release, it just resets back to where it was, back to 140, 140 for the center X of the glove and the X2 of the arm. All right, what I want to do here now that we've seen how what I have written so far works, is I'm actually going to comment out my jabs for a moment because I want to add now an uppercut. So I'm going to make an uppercut. And what I want to do with that is my arm, I'm going to move it to the right and down a little bit. So I'm going to make my arm dot x2 equal 300 is how far I went before. Maybe I'll make it like 200. And the arm dot y2, I'm going to bring it down a little bit. Down means increasing the y, so maybe I'll try 250. And actually, I'll do that with the glove as well. The glove should just be following these coordinates exactly. So glove dot center x equals, ooh, and I'm gonna be a little smarter. Instead of the 300, I'm gonna say the arm dot x2, and that way, if I need to change these numbers here, the glove will just be following where the end of that arm is. So in the glove dot center y, I'm gonna make the arm dot y2, and this way my glove will follow the arm no matter what. Huh? Line 36. Oh, I need to pass over here because I commented that out. Okay. When I do the on mouse press, that's looking pretty good, right? That's a good place for an uppercut. And so now, I like that spot. We're going to get rid of this pass and then come over here and we'll make an uppercut. Uppercut. And the uppercut is going to bring the arm up and towards the face of the enemy. The enemy's head is at 300, 150. So I'm going to go to like 300, 160. Let's try. Maybe we won't go, we'll go like 280, 160. All right, so this will be arm dot x2 equals, where's the head? 300. So I'll do like 280, 280, and the arm dot y2, I'm going to make, I think I said 160. And the glove is just going to follow. So I'm going to say the glove dot center y equals arm dot x2, and the glove dot center x, and then the center y, I will make the arm dot y2. And so now for the uppercut, I should see down and uppercut. Boom. All right, so we're like winding up the uppercut here, and then it goes. Because I don't have a third thing, right? I have on mouse press and on mouse release. This is never going to reset, but that's going to be okay because of where we want this to go. So, and then finally, I'm going to move the enemy head. He'll knock his head off, rock'em sock'em robot style. It's going to go a little bit to the right, a little bit up. Maybe 340 and 100? Let's try it. So, enemy head, yep, dot center x will make 340, and the enemy head dot center y will make, I don't know, what did I say? 150, getting smaller is going up, so we'll make it like 100. That's going to get knocked all the way off. Let's see. Charging up my uppercut. Boom. Oh. Enemy here. Ah. Everyone makes typos. This is enemy head. Now we try. Boom. Uppercut knocks his head off. Looks good. Okay. So now the final thing that I have to do here is I want to have the jabs and the uppercuts. I'm going to go like jab, jab, uppercut. So I cannot just have the jab and the jab over here. It's going to look really weird. Let's test just to see what ends up happening. It's going to look really weird. We're going to jab. It just looks like the uppercut. And then uppercut. Oh, it just ends up looking like the uppercut part. So what we need to do is add if statements, which is the whole point of this thing in the first place. Even though I'm probably like, 8 minutes into the video and I haven't gotten to them yet, we're getting to them now. So what I want to do is only do the jab on the first two. Because my counter starts at 0 and I want to go twice, it'll jab become 1, jab becomes 2. So I want to jab if my count label dot value is less than 2, we will jab. And I need to indent these two parts of the jab to make sure I'm doing that. And if my count label dot value, I'm going to say equals 2, then we will do the uppercut setup. And then afterwards, nothing else is going to happen. Ooh, we can even go kind of crazier here. The label value increases, so I'm going to say this will happen if the count label dot value is less than 3. We will increase the count label value. And then what I'm going to say is I'm going to add even another if statement, right? You can just keep adding ifs. I'm going to say if the count label dot value equals 3, I'm going to say that the count label dot value, I'm going to set it equal to KO. And then finally here, I have to put the jab return and the uppercut in the appropriate places too. I have to keep in mind that here, my less than 2 or equal to, this is happening before the count value gets added. The release is going to happen after the value. So my boundaries, what I'm checking against, are going to have to be a little bit different. So I'm going to jab return if the count label dot value, and I'm just going to copy this because I'm getting sick of typing that every time. I'm going to say as long as that is less than 3, I am going to be jab returning. And then if the count label.value is 3. I'm doing, by the way more than you should do all at once. You should really be testing as you kind of go, but you know, we're going to trust that it's all going to work out. There'll be no errors. It's going to be perfect. Okay, let's try running it and see how it goes. Jab, jab, uppercut, boom. Whoo, type error. Oh, right. Because I changed it to KO. Okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to take the KO switch and have it happen at the very end. Right? So the error that I got was I cannot check if it's less than 3 because when I switched it to KO, it became a string, not an integer, meaning I switched it to letters as opposed to just a number value. I cannot compare if a number is less than the letter is KO. That doesn't make any sense. That's a thing that we haven't really talked about in CMU, but hopefully we get to it eventually. Anyways, I'm just going to go ahead and move that KO to being, and I shouldn't be saying KO anyways until after the dude's head gets knocked off, until I uppercut. This should be good. Let's try it out. Jab, jab, prepare. Oh, we got the counter 3. Uppercut, KO. Boom. That is the program. Hopefully you were able to get something like that from the solution. And let's just do a quick review. I know this video is longer than I like to make them, even though my videos, I think, are consistently getting to like 10 minutes plus. Let's just do a quick review of what's going on here. We have our count label. That's going to be like counting for us and storing that information so that we know when we want to do different things. We set up the scene by making the enemy and the protagonist and creating some global variables for things that we know we're going to edit, and just kind of made the images themselves if we know that part's just going to be a static part of the image. It's not moving. Then we use multiple if statements, and in the next couple of parts of Unit 3, you're going to see that you have if and else. You can use multiple if statements. Ifs really, like I said in the couple of videos before this, are where it gets really exciting. You can use multiple if statements with different checks, different Boolean statements. That's what this is called. A Boolean statement is just a true or false check to do different things depending on what's going on in your program. So as long as my count, the number of times that I clicked, was less than 2, I was doing the jab. As soon as my count value was 2, it's no longer less than 2, so it'll skip this if statement, or rather it will check here on line 20, and then it'll skip lines 21 and 22. And then once the count value is 2, it's been skipping it before because it hadn't been 2 yet. Once it is 2, I will do the, prep for the uppercut. He brings his hand down. And then as long as my count label value was less than 3, I was just taking the value of my count label and adding 1 to it each time to count out how many times that happened. Finally, on mouse release, we have the same thing, right? In the first couple, it's jab, return, jab, return. The reason this needs to be 3 is, let's kind of like think about this. And maybe I should have a piece of paper and my stylus connected, but hopefully we'll be okay. Our count label value started at 0. So the first time I click, count label value is 0. That is less than 2. We'll do this. It's not equal to 2, so we'll skip this if statement. 0 is less than 3, so we will then do this if statement. The count label is now 1. Then I release my mouse. 1 is less than 3. Great. Notice when I was doing the checks here, my count label was 0. Only once I ended my on-mouse press did it become 1. And so that's why I needed to add 1 to my check here, because this is happening after my label goes up, where this is happening before my label goes up. Same sort of thing, right? 1 is less than 3. 1 is not 3, so we only do this in the on-mouse release the first time. Don't do this, because I'm checking to see if it is 3. I'm going to click again. 1 is less than 2, so I'll jab again. 1 is not equal to 2, so I skip this part. 1 is less than 3, so I add 1. My count label value is now 2. I'm going to release my mouse here. When I release, 2 is less than 3, so I will recover my jab arm. 2 is not equal to 3, so I don't do the uppercut yet. 2 is not equal to 3, so I don't say KO. And now I'm going to click one last time. I click one last time. 2 is not less than 2. So we now skip lines 21 and 22. 2 is equal to 2. So finally, for the first time, we do our uppercut setup. Now the arm is going to come down and get ready for the uppercut. 2 is still less than 3. So we do this. We increment one more time. We now have 3 as our count label value. I'm going to release my mouse here. 3 is not less than 3, so I'm prepping my arm. I don't reset it back to whatever it was normally. But 3 is equal to 3, so now we're going to perform our uppercuts back. Boom, we're going to perform the uppercut. The enemy's head gets knocked off, all that good stuff. And then finally, this last if statement, 3 is equal to 3, so we change the count label value to KO. And after all that, we'll get one more run through of this, and I'll close the video and be sad when I'm uploading it that it's like 15 to 20 minutes long. So we're going to jab count is what? Run. Jab count is 1, release. Jab count is 2, release. How did it work? Right, once it is equal to 2, now we're going to prep our uppercut. So now, click, preparing the uppercut. Also, I can't scroll over because I'm holding the click down. Our count label is at 3. I release, because it's at 3, I'm not going to return my jab back. Instead, I do the uppercut, switch to KO. That's the program. I will put the challenge video out there. This one's kind of crazy, so, at least hopefully you got something out of this solution video. Thank you if you stayed here for the entire one. I'm sorry that this one took longer than I expected it to. But I hope it was useful, and I hope it was helpful for you.